Acha, recording is started. I will start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Doyen. As you all know, India is a country with diverse sporting potential, and we at the Sports Doyen look to dive into some of the wonderful stories through our new series, The Unsung Sporting Tales. We have some fantastic representatives coming up from the sporting ecosystem along with us on this journey. This is your host Prathamesh, and I have two charming individuals from the badminton field today. Join in to welcome Medha and Aditi. Medha is a former player from Karnataka who has played the sport at state and national levels. She has trained at the prestigious Storms Academy in Bengaluru and has been ranked in the top 10 in the under 19s girls category. Aditi Mahajan is a former national level badminton player from Punjab, and she has played badminton professionally for almost 10 years and has represented her state at various junior and senior nationals. So, hi guys, how are you doing? How is the lockdown being for you guys? Meda?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. How's lockdown been?
Pretty much boring, but pretty much good too. Have utilized the time to brush up some skills, read, attending classes. I also started writing content writing for badminton itself. So the worst part has
That's
been
lovely.
sitting at home all day. Other than that, pretty much okay.
Yeah. Aditi, what about you?
I have been working out. I've reconnected to badminton. I left badminton almost a year back, so I felt like training back. So this
Okay.
is what I've started. Also, finally, I've tried my hands on cooking. तो अभी सिर्फ chopping सीखा है.
That's great. Good start in that terms. So, Aditi, I'll start with you first. What is your first memory of having a badminton racket in hand? How was that experience, that first feel of that racket?
I started playing badminton when I was in class 7th, but
Okay.
I was a street player. Before started playing it professionally, I was a pretty good street player. So when there were these school trials held at my school DAV, and I lost. I wasn't selected. I mean, no, I was not the best.
Okay.
And just suddenly something just hit me up that, you know what, I have to be the best. And that is when I started playing professionally. And that feeling was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, I think for most sports players, their first experience is something that really makes them realize what they would like to do in the future. Meda, I mean, badminton has been a part and parcel of your life. You started writing about it now, but talking about your first experience, how was it?
Like Aditi said, initially when I was street player, I used to play it on the streets near my house with people out there. But then gradually I developed liking towards the sport. I used to watch sports. I used to watch Saina Nehwal play, and I think it was Beijing 2008, the Olympics, watching Saina Nehwal play, and then gradually, I felt like I should try my hand at playing badminton indoors as well. And once I started playing there, it was an extremely different feeling playing indoor badminton. The sound that you hear when the shuttle and the racket meet, it just gives you a totally different feeling, and that's how I started picking up the sport.
So that is something that is the sound of a racket hitting the shuttle, the sound of a bat hitting the ball are kind of the moments where sportsmen actually pick up their nuances of trying to develop themselves into the sport. And Medha, I mean, from there you started playing more professionally, trying to train more professionally. What was the inspiration behind all that?
Like I said, it's primarily, the sheer joy of playing. I have no other explanation than that. You just on court, you enjoy playing. You just lose yourself in the game. I don't have any other great inspiration except that. Sport also teaches you a lot of many other things, which are life skills like teamwork, discipline, and that just motivates you to keep playing, get better, and push yourself to be the best.
I think the sheer joy of playing is probably the best explanation by an athlete to play the sport for a long time. I think that is what keeps them going until a very long time to achieve success in the sport. Aditi, you pretty much similar inspiration, I believe, because both of you have been playing for a long time.
Yep. It's like winning and losing are one thing, but badminton is something which makes you happy. You're sad, you play badminton. You're happy, you play badminton. If anything, you'll just play badminton. It's like that. I mean, the
Totally.
sport is, for me, the sport is much beyond just winning and losing. It is something which makes me happy, something which gives me and provides me a sense of joy, a sense of relief. I mean, I connect to badminton in that sense.
Yeah, I can totally feel you guys because when I was young, I used to do that with cricket and football. So if you can't play out on the field, then I used to play it on my laptop or on my computer. I think that's pretty much. I think it sums it up because no matter what you feel, you still feel like playing the sport, and I think that is one of the best things that sport can ever give a person. That is the desire to keep continuing, keep motivating yourself, and do better. For you guys, who was your favorite player growing up? Do you idolize someone in particular?
Meda, you go first.
Okay, like I said, I think growing up, I watched Saina Nehwal. Like she's probably been the first like superstar of badminton. Like if you consider after 2000, and what she has done is just incredible. So later on, I started following many other players like Lee Chong Wei, Linda, and now PV Sindhu, Carolina Marin. But talking about growing up, it is Saina Nehwal hands down.
I
Aditi,
think
I
I
know
kind
you're a
of
big Saina fan yourself.
yeah. I kind of have a similar experience. I started playing badminton in 2008 year itself. That was the first time I played my state tournament and I won it. And that was the same year when Saina was playing Olympics. I think she probably reached quarterfinals.
Quarterfinal.
And it was also the same year where she won these three back-to-back Super Series tournaments. So
Okay.
first and the foremost player who I connected to while playing badminton. And also, I love Saina for the fact while she had this injury in Olympics in year 2016.
Rio.
Uh, People were like, her career is gone because even when she came back, she was not able to win tournaments. But for Saina, the kind of belief and faith that she showed in herself and not believing what people around her were speculating, I think that's commendable. And then she beat PV Sindhu in Commonwealth Games and won the gold. I think it was incredible. Hands down, Saina is going to be the one for me. She's being an epitome of mental toughness.
Totally. She's one of the
Yeah,
best in
and
terms of that in the circuit.
definitely. I mean, Saina has put. For me, Saina was the first player that I really heard of playing badminton growing up, because obviously there were the likes of Prakash Padukone before, but in the women's game, the Indian circuit of late, it's been more about Saina Nehwal and PV Sindhu. Obviously, then when the global stars like Carolina Marin, Tai Tzu Ying have caught up my memories myself. So I think when you play sport, especially in a country like India where cricket is the major sport in the country, there is always this, that sense of doubt amongst people that when you choose another sport, it's going to be difficult for you. And badminton, probably even when you guys were growing up, was the second most played sport in the country, if I'm not wrong. But still, it would have been difficult. So, Aditi, starting with you, your family support must have been incredible to come up the ranks and actually perform so well.
I think my mother has been my pillar of my strength. So we had these training sessions at 5 a.m. in the morning. And back then, I didn't have a vehicle. I had to either use an auto or use a rickshaw to go back there all the way to my training center to train. At 5 a.m., if I have to reach there, I have to wake up by 4 a.m., have my nutrition, get ready, and then reach the venue. My mom was there throughout in my morning sessions, in my evening sessions. She used to travel all the way to all my state tournaments. I think my mom has been the pillar of my strength. She has given me this. I mean, in 10 years that I've played my badminton, it has also been my mom. I feel like my mom has been playing all along with me. That's the kind of support she's given me in these 10 years. It's been amazing.
Neda?
Yeah, totally agree with this on Aditi. I mean, it's very, very important, the role of parents in any athlete's life, not just badminton, because like she said, you have training sessions like early in the morning, 5 a.m., 5:30, and especially when I used to train in terms, the sessions went like beyond 6 hours a day. It used to be like 6 to 7:30, and then 8 to 11, and then again in the afternoon you go 2:30 to 5:30. Like, first of all, you'd be like dead tired after those sessions. Like, an athlete would not be in any position to do all the work at home, also study and all that. So if I have a session at say 6 a.m., we have to wake up around 4:30, and parents need to wake up even before that, so that before I go to the session, I take the right kind of nutrition, say have milk, protein, or any light food like nuts, and then by the time I'm back from the session, I need my next meal for that. And by the time I'm back home by around 12:30 after the second session, that I'm obviously will be hungry. So she has to keep things ready for me. And it's not like you just eat anything. You have to eat the right kind of food. And apart from that, shuttling me to the academy and back, I mean, their contribution has been immense. And not just that, even in terms of mental support that you need, uh, whether you win a match or lose a match, or how you deal with it, how you deal with mental pressure too, that's also very important. And parents and family play a big role in that.
Yeah, I think parents personally, from my experience, I feel they live the sport along with you. Probably they live it more than you
Exactly.
because you are the ones who are actually doing it on the field. So you know what you're doing. Your parents sometimes do not understand what exactly is happening with you technically, or where your game may or may not improve. So your parents still, the amount of effort that they put to get through all those difficulties and to create these moments for you to actually be professional sportsmen. I think a lot of credit has to go to them, and it is rightly being going to them. I think they live it more than athletes do. In my personal opinion, I think it's their effort that really makes it happen. And talking about being professionals, obviously, how was your guys' first experience of playing a national tournament? So I'll start with Aditi. Your first experience must have been wonderful, but would you like to sum it up in a few words?
Well,
I know it's
it was
difficult.
actually it was actually quite the opposite. My first tournament I
Okay.
played was in Jaipur, sub junior nationals. Okay, and that was my first national tournament, and I got an injury. My ankle got
Mm.
twisted, and I
Oh,
couldn't play further. And in that particular tournament, I saw PV Sindhu as well. She's playing this under 16 category, and she won it eventually. But that was my first memory, which is not so good. But yeah.
so which one would you say was your favorite then? Your favorite
My
tournament?
favorite one was the one in Imphal. There was this junior national tournament held in Imphal where I reached quarters in mixed doubles. And also, I was playing a lot of categories. Like in my states, I had won 4 out of 5 categories, and I was playing the nationals in all the 4 categories. That was the one tournament which was quite memorable for me. In a place like Imphal, it
Uh,
was amazing.
yeah, I think it's
Where I
a
reached,
different it's it's a different culture altogether to adjust to, and then playing the tournament, it's even difficult. So, Medha, for you, your first tournament, and probably was it your favorite? And if not, then which one would you like to share with our viewers?
My first national tournament was in Bengaluru itself. It was a junior ranking. I was playing in the under 19 singles and doubles category. It was really, I lost both of them in the first round, but it was a really fun and incredible experience. One is, of course, I enjoyed playing. It was held in KBA, like 10 courts, and there were people swarming all throughout the day. I had a match in the morning, and the doubles were scheduled at 8 p.m. in the evening. So Aditya must be knowing some kind of delays like normal in nationals and states. So first of all, the early morning singles match got delayed, which was technically shouldn't have been. That's okay. It was fun playing against the player from Andhra and all that. And the second match, which was supposed to happen at 8 p.m., happened at 1 a.m. in the night. So that
Whoa.
was like Like I was playing with my sister, and it was incredible. We kept on waiting for our man, like kab hoga, kab hoga, kab hoga. Hum log ko, we've been there in KBA like right from 7 a.m. and then being that 1 a.m. the next day. It was an amazing experience. What was even incredible for me was the spirit of the players. No matter what time it is, everybody's so enthusiastic about playing. That kind of energy was a totally different, sight to behold. It was incredible being a part of that kind of a tournament and playing there among such players. So that was extremely good. Another tournament that is memorable to me is my first state ranking tournament, wherein I had played badminton in no other place than Bangalore. And this one was in Udupi.
Yeah.
Udupi is a coastal place. So it was totally different. Bangalore usually have a dry weather and it was so humid there and it was in a summer. And I've been used to playing in a place where there are usually 6 courts or 10 courts, like multiple. So the area is huge. There's not much drift and it's easier to play. Whereas in Udupi, there were barely like, I think 4 courts, so humid. No matter how hard you hit the shuttle just doesn't reach the baseline. So I remember after that tournament, I was probably holding my hand and limping my way back because it was so physically straining, but it was an amazing experience in terms of learning to play new places. You learn how to change your game in different places as per even the weather conditions and the conditions in the arena. So that was a great learning for me.
Yeah, I think from what I've heard from both of you, it is really important that a player is adaptable and they're confident about what they're doing, and equally important to enjoy in the probably the toughest of situations. Like you said, going at 7 a.m. and 7 a.m. and playing a match at 1 a.m. on the next day is totally crazy. I couldn't imagine doing that. It never happened with me personally. I used to play school cricket, so in Mumbai, things were pretty organized in those terms, and hardly we faced any delay. But even Aditi, I mean, your experience, the first game you got injured. The same happened with me when I was supposed to play my first game. I got injured, my finger broke, so I couldn't play for like 3 4 months more. So that was frustrating, but that was an experience that you carry with you. You keep on going no matter what happens, and then you uh, build on what you aspire to become. So, guys, the Olympics is scheduled next year now, and yeah, I know both of you have got your favorite picks to win the Olympics. Medha, for you, who I know your favorite must be Tyson, knowing you.
Yes,
But
tides.
any other picks in other categories you would like to talk about?
So talking about my women's singles pick, it's definitely Tai Tzu Ying. I mean, she's had an amazing run in the past 2 years, and she's she's a prodigy. Her talent is on another level. But having said that, I think Carolina Marin is not to be written off. I mean, she's just proven to the world with her win at China Open after that career-threatening injury that she's here to defend her Olympic gold. And PV Sindhu having won the silver, and then she even won the World Championships last year. So, I mean, there are strong contenders for the Olympic gold apart from Tai Tzu Ying. There's also the Japanese Akane Yamaguchi and Nozomi Okuhara, for whom it's the home ground over there in Tokyo. So I think it should be an amazing women's singles category matches at 2021 Olympics. So, but I really hope Tai Tzu Ying wins because I think she might retire after that, like she said. And talking about the men's singles category, I think I'd like to see Kento Momota win the gold.
Aditi, Saina, for you, I pretty much hope that you'll be rooting for Saina. There's no doubt about it.
I am
But
rooting for Saina, but I
yeah,
strongly feel I think Marin is going to get the goal again. If not Marin, then maybe Taizu Wing. I mean, Marin is somebody who might not perform for a while, but when it comes to the most important tournament, she's gonna show up and fucking win the gold. Marin is like that. Her spirit of winning is incredible. Even if she's 19-12 down, she won't give up. And it won't be a surprise if you see her winning that match or winning that particular tournament. So it's hands down Marin. I also want Sindhu to win. I mean, if not, any other player. Sindhu is definitely one of my kind of favorite contenders as well. But I feel Marin and Taizu Wing have great chances. And also Nozumi Okuhara. Since it's a home ground, they
Okay,
might
so
have this
yeah,
additional bit
the
of
home advantage plays big
goal.
time.
Yeah.
Home advantage really helps in any sport. You have that continuous support. You always know that people are going to cheer for you no matter what happens. I think that that unconditional support really helps. But
Yep.
personally, for me, I have not watched a lot of badminton. I've been just following a few big
Football.
games here and there, and I'm a major day football fan, so I've been following football a lot. It gives me a lot of sleepless nights, but badminton, whatever I watch, I'm glad. I would be glad if any Indian player wins it personally because it would be a great achievement for the sports in the country, and it would be a massive boost for people who aspire to play the sport. So I think you guys must have gone through a few changes that have been happening in your badminton ecosystem. So Aditi, you played in Punjab, and Mehta, you played in Karnataka. So how do you guys think the federation in those states in terms of efficiency of tournaments, etc.? Starting with Mehta.
So in Karnataka, we do have a good number of state ranking tournaments conducted every year across all the categories. The number of tournaments is usually more in the junior category, under 13, under 15, 17, and 19. Seniors, it's comparatively a little less, but I guess there are more tournaments in the national level for that. So there's no issue with that. And there's a state championship held every year. And we have a online system for sending in our entries. Earlier, it used to be through email, like at least since I've been playing like 6-7 years. So we had to mail them, and it was quite transparent. But then later on, they shifted to a software called Tournament Software. So we could send entries through that as well. And the draws were all published online along with the match timings and things. Of course, some amount of match delays are common, but I guess that also shows that the number of people playing the sport has been drastically increasing, and the quality of matches is going beyond allotted time. So that I see that as a good thing for the sport. But of course, there is always room for improvement in terms of scheduling as well. It's been a good experience, hassle-free, but it would be great if the websites were more updated regularly.
Okay, and Aditi, how about you? How was playing in Punjab been for you?
My experience was totally different from what Meda had. Firstly, we had no online system for our entries. It was all the entries were sent through our coaches offline. Secondly,
Okay.
there had been no support from our association at all. I think a player who's been a state champion for like 10 years have not got a single penny as a prize money from my association. So I think in that sense, Punjab Association lacks a lot. I think Meda is pretty lucky with the kind of support that she's been getting from her state. Even in states like Haryana, they give almost 50-70,000 to a single state champion. I wish the kind of support that people had in other states was there in Punjab. I mean, it's been lacking a lot in our state. It's been lacking a lot. There is barely any
So I guess
transparency. There is this process of making a draw in badminton, but there has been no transparency in that as well.
so. I guess that is something that you feel personally that Punjab Association could probably inherit from the likes of Haryana or Karnataka. It
Yeah,
would
you look at
definitely help the future athletes.
we should look at Haryana's culture of sports. It's incredible. The kind of support that they've given, it's incredible. It's incredible. Monetary assistance is something which is basic for a player. Like in badminton, the amount that we spend to play a particular tournament goes somewhat around 5 to 10,000. And also, our training is pretty costly. You get a racket; it's for 5 to 10K. A good racket costs anywhere between 5 to 10,000. You need money to get the cutting done. You need money for the grips. You need money for the shuttlecock. We practice with the feather shuttlecock. An AS2 box costs around somewhat 1200 to 1500, might be differing in different regions.
It's
And the box,
1350 to 1500 right now.
yeah,
Very
और वो
expensive.
एक डब्बा एक हफ्ते में एक हफ्ता भी नहीं चलता है. The kind of expenses involved is huge, and if you do not provide players monetary assistance, how do you expect them to keep playing the sport? You know, if my parents had the money to spend, talking about people who do not have the kind of money which is required to play this sport, without any monetary assistance, it's almost next to impossible to continue playing. So I think Karnataka Association has been great, but in my state, there has been very minimal support in terms of assistance from my state association. The players had to do it on their own.
Talking about
I
monetary
guess it,
assistance,
yeah.
but I think even in Karnataka, it's limited to those very few cream level players. The
Okay.
participation aspect, like I said, is pretty much transparent. Like I don't need a coach to send in my entry, and if I want to participate in nationals, I will send my entry to the state association, and they forward it to the national association, the BAI. Talking about monetary assistance, it's only a few who have represented Karnataka in the national championships who get kits and certain other designated assistance from the state association. But like I said, I have never personally received any. Everything we've done is out of our own, the family support through family itself.
So yeah, I think there's a huge scope in that part of the federation, how it works. Obviously, grassroots development is taking a big center stage now in Indian sports, and there are a lot of career opportunities for young players who want to do well, want to play the sport. Now that PBL has come in, that is another opportunity for people. Considering how it has been going in that sector, what would be your coaching aspirations? How would you like to go about it? Yeah, Meena, Mr.
Okay, but coaching aspirations as of now, no, but in the long term, yes, I do have plans. I think badminton has really picked up after Sindhu's Rio Olympics silver. I was in Bengaluru back then, and I can for surely say after that silver by PV Sindhu, there was a badminton courts. There were badminton courts being set up in almost every other area in Bangalore. Like, I think I could find one in every 2 to 3 kilometer radius. That was the growth rate of badminton in Bangalore. So once there's a badminton court, it hardly takes any time for any coach to come and set up an academy. So you can find a lot of people playing badminton in many cities in India, I'd say. I mean, while I was in Tom's, I came across players from North India, Lucknow, Bihar, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and I think even Tamil Nadu has a couple of good academies. So does Kerala and Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh. Needless to say, they have like national camps there. And even Assam has grown in terms of popularity in badminton. They have really good players coming up, and Aditi would be able to elaborate more on the scene in North India. There's Delhi, there's Lucknow. And even in Maharashtra and Pune, there's Nikhil Kanetkar's academy. Even in Mumbai, there's PPB and many other. So overall, there's a great, I'd say, badminton is spread all across India. And there are people playing badminton, but I think to make the cut to performance in badminton, we will need better coaching, better quality coaching, and support in terms of the equipments required, like the basic shuttles. They're pretty expensive. So that will require some kind of an assistance. So yes, I think people who have good knowledge about badminton should go into coaching and help the young players come up, learn the sport the right way, play it well, and bring laurels for the country. But I haven't decided for myself whether I want to be a coach or not, but definitely an option that I'd like to try in future. Or set up an academy, wherein I can provide aspiring athletes to, hone their skills. That's for sure.
For you, Aditi?
Yeah, I've tried my hands at coaching before coming to Mumbai, but I'll see if I want to pursue this field anymore or not. And coming to grassroots development, I think definitely badminton has grown because of PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal coming into picture. But in terms of goals themselves, what we need is better coaches. Only if there are coaches, only if the kids are taught how to play right badminton at right age, is the chance that we, are able to secure not just one medal in Olympics, but more medals, many more medals. I mean, there has to be a time when badminton should not be just about PV Sindhu or Saina Nehwal. I feel there is a strong plateau which might be coming in terms of badminton in India, because what next after PV Sindhu and Saina? Who next? अभी सीन क्या है कि जो BAI है provides support financially to just top 30 people. I mean, somebody who is a career ranking of top 30 will be provided support by BAI, right? So now if a player is playing singles, cement singles at the international circuit, your ranking will improve only if you're playing tournaments, only if you're playing international tournaments. And to play an
Yeah.
international tournament, you'll have to spend money for your stay, you'll have to spend money for your food, you'll have to spend money for the traveling. And if you're not in top 30, you won't be able to get the support from Badminton Association of India. So you see, it's a double-edged sword. How will I improve my ranking if I'm not able to play these tournaments? And how will I play these tournaments if I do not have the money? That's the kind of dilemma that is being faced by players these days. Players like PV Sindhu, Saina Nehwal, they have got a lot of sponsors. They don't need that kind of support from Badminton Association of India. On the other hand, lower ranked players, they need the support, but they're not getting it. So that is what is happening these days.
So I guess that's a huge eye opener for all badminton fans across India, especially because all those people who are aspiring to be badminton players, please keep doing that, because your support for the sport, your passion for the sport is only going to take it to different levels. But also, you need a little bit more assistance from the federations and from the government, which will probably definitely come up in the upcoming few years now, with tournaments like Halo India coming up, etc. So we are hoping that the things get better in badminton as well, and as well as in other sports, as development is now taking place in the sporting ecosystem in India. So, ladies, really thank you to both of you. It was a lovely conversation. It was fun to have two people who I know personally. So I think it was an eye opener for all people in the who are aspiring to be badminton professionals, as well as for everyone who's watching this video all across the country, because we need to support all the athletes that come through every different age category and different state or national category. So there is where there is a huge scope for development. So I think it's safe to say, with like people like you and the upcoming generation, it is pretty safe to say that the badminton looks in good hands in India in terms of the athletes and coaches. So thank you to both of you, Medha and Aditi. It was a fantastic conversation. Thank you to all our viewers at the Sports Doyen. It has been a great start for us, and we are looking at more exciting times ahead and getting you more of these unsung tales from the Indian sporting ecosystem. Cheers.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.